Hello, this is this, and well, I haven't made a video in a while, so I decided, why the fuck not? With E3 almost over, pretty much I think it is over by the time this video will go up, and all the big companies did their major presentation. So let's get down to the nitty gritty and talk about it, shall we? Who did I think won? Sony. Microsoft didn't do so well, mainly because, how can I put it this way? Microsoft looked like it was begging for people to come back. Of course, they were a lot more better than they were last E3, you know, when they were really sad and pathetic. Got up there and thought that they were the king shits and everybody would buy their Kinect, melded in with their Xbox One, and clearly that didn't work. And of course, Sony did a little bit better until they got to that whole Powers TV show, which was just bad. And then I have to say, for Nintendo, they did a pretty good thing with just the short amount of time that they had. They just had nothing but games, which is what everybody wanted. Sony had nothing but games, and most of their demos were actual playable games, and they were actually playing them, both third party and first. Microsoft was just mostly CGI, but Nintendo actually demonstrated some strength here. Of course, no one's going to buy Nintendo because, if you listen to Black Bond's stupidity, which a lot of people are getting really sick and tired of listening to, because that man still says that, half the functionality that Mario Kart 8 can do within the Wii U, you still can't do, even though Mario Kart 8 proves him wrong. And yeah, I still think the PS3 and Wii U are better deals. I mean, the Wii U, yes, it's a less powerful machine, but it's not as expensive as the other two machines, and it's, well, reasonably priced. It was reasonably priced back then, but morons out there got up there and kept complaining about, I want something to whip my dick out and masturbate to. I want 1080p and 4K. I gotta masturbate to high resolution. I can't masturbate to it. Well, what about gameplay? Fuck gameplay! I'm not here to play games! I'm here to masturbate the resolutions! And only resolutions! I don't play games! We don't get games to play games! We get games for the resolutions only! Yeah, I really do think the industry is falling that way, where they all think that resolution is the greatest fucking thing of all time, and that gameplay, and actually just, playing the game, is just taking a back seat. They're called games. The whole idea of getting a game, or playing a game, or even watching a little girl, put a hopscotch thing out in her backyard, is so she can play hopscotch. Look at it, and then well, I'm not going in that territory, but you get the idea. Games are meant to have fun and to play, not to just look at the pretty little pictures. If you're going to sit there and look at the pretty little pictures and just drop your controller and not playing it, you're not playing a game. You're watching a fucking movie. There's a huge difference between the two. And half these people aren't even playing their fucking consoles. They're just complaining about the resolution crap. And yeah, it pisses me off, and it's stupid. I still think the PS4 is a better deal than Xbox One, even though they got rid of the Kinect. Why? Because the Xbox One is still less powerful, yet it's at the same price as the PS4 for some reason. Oh, actually, I know why. It's that TV functionality crap. See, Xbox One is never going to match up with the power of the PS4, which is still, cheaper and a much more better deal. I mean, don't get me wrong. There is a way for Xbox to get enough power to at least be equal to that of the PlayStation 4. Of course, it means dropping that television and that side-by-side functionality that Microsoft keeps boasting about. What do I mean? Well, the PS4, the Xbox One has a weaker GPU, a pretty weak GPU. Now, there's nothing really different between the RAM of, GDDR5 and DDR3 RAM. Or, they both have 8 gigs, even though that the GDDR5 8 gigs on the PS4 is more powerful. It's pretty obvious. It's just got more horsepower and more space to it because it's more newer and more optimized for it. But it wouldn't matter. Even with the ES RAM, Xbox One's ES RAM, it's not going to really make much of a difference, and it's not going to help Microsoft reach 1080p graphics. That only happens in the fanboys' minds, and then them constantly saying, we'll reach 1080p sometime. We will reach 1080p sometime. No. There's nothing wrong with the RAM. There's nothing wrong with the drivers and all this draw distance and all that crap. The problem is that the GPU just can't do most of the drawings because Microsoft went out and picked a weak GPU. So that power has to go to somewhere else. Even though they got a GPU in there that puts all this power on the GPU, they got to collect it from somewhere else, and the only other place is the CPU. And the extra CPU, which is that ARM processor that they got into the Xbox One. But there's another problem with this. You see, first of all, that 10% power that they gave to the Kinect, let me explain. They've already taken off 8% a long time ago. That 10% they're saying they're giving back is really only 2% of the 10%. They're just giving back the full 10% now instead of just 8% now that the Kinect is gone. But anyways, the extra power has to come from the CPU and the ARM processor. But there's another problem. They're already being used up quite a lot. The operating system on the Xbox One is hogging the shit out of it, but that's monocle. But the what's really hogging it up is the TV and TV functionality of the TV functionality of the TV functionality, so you can watch that Price is Right shit. Remember that HDMI in and out port that they got on the back of the Xbox One? Well, that little functionality is costing Xbox One some serious graphical power. And even though Microsoft keeps boasting it, they're going to have to cut that in order to get that extra CPU power. And to get the more out of it is that they would have to, that little functionality allows them to run the game at the same time while running other programs at the same time, like Skype and all that, running the two together because they have like 3 operating systems running together. That's hogging up the CPU as well. And it's also the reason why Xbox One has an extremely slow install. And I mean really slow install. So that 3 operating system shit that they're roasting out, cut it and put it down to 1 operating system. Of course, you lose the functionality of running 2 basic programs. Not really as, like watching television and playing your games at the same time, or running 2 games at the same time or whatever. I mean, it's not that hard to run Skype and a game at the same time. Because even though Skype's an extremely buggy thing, it's not that resource heavy as everybody seems to think. Because even the PS4, with its extremely weak CPU, can run cross-game chat and all chat functions while playing games at the same time. Hell, even the Xbox 360, well, not the PS3, hell, even the Wii U, the PlayStation Vita, they can all do this shit. The only 2 that can't do it because of hardware problems is the PS3 and the Wii, the regular Wii. The Wii U can do it, it's just for some goddamn reason Nintendo won't implement it. We don't want to be too much like our competitors. Shut the fuck up and put it into, you idiots. It's not being like your competitor. It's being competitive against your competitors, you dumb-witted idiots. But they really need to take those extra resources off the CPU on the Xbox One, and then use those resources from the CPU and then push it onto their GPU or onto the graphics. And that way they would have higher resolutions and higher graphics and be able to fight against the PS4. But right now, they don't have a fucking prayer and a chance, because the whole damn thing doesn't make any goddamn sense when you look at it hardware-wise. It's a fucking mess. And that's why more and more people are going with PlayStation 4 than they are going with PlayStation... Yeah, that's why they're going with PlayStation 4 more than they are with Xbox One. Because Xbox One is a fucking joke. Well, that's the way I see it. See ya.